It's tea time, guys. Who's excited? Oh, it's gonna be a good one, guys. We're gonna have fun today with this one. It is certainly tea time. So let's get our water on and let's make a bulletproof tea to start. What kind of tea are we gonna have? I boiled some water. Let's see. Let's do apple cinnamon this time. I haven't tried my apple cinnamon yet. So let's make us an apple cinnamon high fat tea today. Oh, that smells so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think I might be in love with that apple tea, and I don't know why I haven't had it yet. So first we're gonna steep our tea. And we're gonna let that get all appley while we start our chat today. So we're gonna talk about something really cool today. Something really new and innovative. I don't know if you guys are aware, because some of you are in the States, you might not know. Canada got an awesome new food guide. They, put it out yesterday, and I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. So let's start with, what does Canada's new food guide look like? I'll show you guys. If you haven't seen it yet, what it looks like, it's pretty unique. Let's just say unique. We'll say unique. Actually, you know what we will say? We'll say that I've decided that this is now the universal symbol for everything that I think is stupid. Egg. Egg is now the universal symbol for everything that I think is absolutely ridiculous. Like, things that just make me go, are you kidding me right now? Egg. Egg is the new symbol for that. Brown egg. So whenever I'm like egg, you guys will know that I'm talking about something that I think is ridiculous. So they're touting it as a very large departure from what the old Canada food guide used to be like. So what they're showing us instead now, instead of the standard 4 food groups that it used to be, they're recommending 3 groups of foods now. So half of our plate is meant to be, I'm going to turn that so you guys can see, half of our plate is meant to be fruits and vegetables. 1/4 of our plate is meant to be whole grain choices, and 1/4 of our plate is meant to be protein. Now I want to talk about that, because the new protein section really discourages meat proteins. They're highly encouraging plant-based proteins in this new Canada food guide, and this is what's making it a huge departure from what we've had in the past, because instead of being 4 groups, it's now 3, and now you're supposed to eat half of your plate of vegetables and a very small amount of protein, but please could it be more plant-based proteins, because that's better for us, that's healthier for us. So I want to talk to you guys about the high carb diet, because for me this isn't a very large departure from what it was before. I don't think it's a large departure of any sort whatsoever, but I want to know, how did high carb work for you guys? I know how it worked for me. Like, I can say I know what high carb did to my body. I know how it worked for me, and I want to hear from you guys. How did it work for you? So for my high fat tea today, I'm going to use coconut oil, but you can use any fat you like. Ghee, butter, it could be MCT oil, whatever you want. But I'm going to put a nice heaping tablespoon of coconut oil in there. You could add heavy cream or coconut cream if you like. I don't generally like whitener in my teas, so I don't add. But you can if you like. And the only reason why I'm blending it, ooh, that really hurt. Oh, that was smooth, Dory. Is so that the fat will turn frothy on top of my tea as I burn myself with it. Tea time wouldn't be tea time without burning myself. This is how it goes in my house. This is why I drink coffee. Like, this right here is why I drink coffee. I'll tell you what. Coffee never burns me. That's a lie. Coffee burns me too. That is such a lie. I don't even know how many times I put way too hot coffee in my face and then spit it right back out. Like, I don't know. Is that a thing for anybody other than me? Like, you're like, oh, oops. That was too hot. I do that all the time. So I'm going to get us all set up. And what I want to do together, it's only about 2.5 minute video, but I want to watch with you guys how this is being reported on the Canadian news. Because I'm not seeing any outrage. Like, everybody seems to think, oh, this is a great and wonderful idea. And I'm like, what? Are you crazy? If we're revamping our healthy eating guide, we had an amazing opportunity in front of like a worldwide audience as Canadians to step up and talk about what makes us healthy and what is making us sick. And somebody dropped the ball. Like, I don't know who was carrying that ball, but somebody dropped it. Like, somebody dropped that ball hard. And now here's the bad part, guys. Here's the really bad part. Because you're like, well, I'm not in Canada. What difference does it make to me what Canada Food Guide says? Whatever. Canadians are weird anyways. And they have a weird accent. But here's the thing. Now that Canada has stepped up and been the first to do it, guess who's revising their food guide next? Dun, 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 dun. The United States of America is going to revise its food guide. You think it's going to look like our new food guide? What do you think? I have a feeling it's going to look an awful lot like our new Canadian food guide. And I'm worried about that. I'm worried about that. And I think it's time for us to all gather together, you know? People who eat keto, people who eat paleo, people who eat healthy, people who love meat. I think it's about time that we all stand up and say, we know what's healthy for us. We know what's healthy for us. We don't need somebody telling us what is healthy for us. I know what works for me. You know what works for you. Do you need the government telling you what to eat? Has the government telling you what to eat benefit you thus far? Just saying. Like, I know it hasn't benefited me a great deal. Maybe you guys are different. Maybe it's been awesome for you. I don't know. Maybe it's been awesome. So I'm going to take a quick scroll, and then I'm going to load up that video, and we're going to watch it together. Because, man, you guys, I can't even believe how this is being reported on the Canadian news. Like, I just, egg. Like, egg. That's, I don't even have any other words. Egg. That's it. Like, egg. Tamara says, high carb, low fat, horrible for her. Ditto, sister, ditto. Crystal says, remember this one, all your brain. Oh, this is your drug. This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs. This is your body. This is your body on the SAD diet. Yes, 1,000,000%. Nancy says, I'm having coffee with heavy whipping cream and collagen powder. Woo! I should start putting collagen in my stuff. I like seriously bought a whole bag of it by accident thinking it was gelatin. Smooth. Princess Caitlin. Oh, Miss Caitlin is joining us. Hello, darling. Yeah, Harold says, hoping it doesn't look like the Canadian new food guide. Let's cross our fingers and toes, right? Like, who's building it? What research are they doing for it? Who's creating it? Are they asking people? Because I'm going to tell you what. Nobody announced in Canada, oh, we're developing a new food guide. Let's get some input. Let's see what Canadians think. Let's see what Canadians are eating these days. Let's, you know, ask them for their input. Never happened. Just saying. Never happened. Tamara says, of course it will look like the Canadian one. No doubt in my mind. No doubt it's going to be like the same. Tamara says, no, she doesn't need them to tell her what to eat. And Crystal says, egg, 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 egg. I swear, egg. Egg is the universal symbol for things now that I think are ridiculous. Like, That from now until forever, that egg, that's my symbol now. If I think something is absolutely ridiculous beyond the point of comprehension, egg. Egg. Keto Heron North says, with a vegan plant-based proteins, I was at my heaviest 2 years ago. All the whole grains I could eat, and I'm still recovering from that lifestyle. And that's the truth, right? Like, that is the absolute truth. We have all spent the better part of a year, 2 years recovering from that way of eating, from our food addictions, from our carb addictions, our sugar addictions, all of these things. We have literally fought, clawed, tooth and nail to get to where we are now. And when we have the opportunity to step up and really make a difference on the world stage, like really make a difference. Look what happened. Look what happened. Like, I'm a not happy Dory. So let's watch this little video ditty together that I watched yesterday, which is actually kind of what set off my whole rant. My whole rant came from this. I'm not gonna lie, this is what ticked me off. Now I'm just gonna go to Instagram because I sent this one to somebody so we can watch it together. But guys, I don't even know. Like, when I watched this yesterday, it set me off. Like, I don't even know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why it's being portrayed this way in the media, but it's being portrayed quite well. They think it's pretty awesome. Like, everybody other than Dory seems to be really impressed with this brand new revised eating plan. Like, everybody seems to think it's pretty wicked. So it's got a 9-second commercial. I'm just going to turn the volume down during the commercial, and then I'll turn it up when the commercial's done, because we don't need to listen to 9 seconds of commercial. I've already heard enough of what they have to say. Heard enough. So we're going to wait for that ad to end, and then I'm going to press play, and we're going to watch it together. Because, guys, wow. Like, wow. When they went on the street and talked to people about what they think, man, I was like, you're kidding, right? Who are these people? Who are you talking to? I don't understand. Remember the milk commercials?
The influence is real. We may not admit it or realize it, but the influence was real, and it is still real.
Since the 1940s, the Canadian Food Guide has recommended the same foods, dairy, meat, and grains, with a side of fruits and vegetables. But now, radical change.
Radical.
Vegetables and fruits dominate, and there's no mention of meat, just proteins, many of which are plant-based. Fruit juices omitted entirely. And where's the dairy? It too has almost vanished from the guide, relegated to a subsection under protein.
This may have harmful effect, especially among those individuals who have low dairy intake.
The old guide had been heavily influenced by lobby groups, so much so that it had lost credibility with many nutritionists.
When we look at this plate of food, however, we can see it just kind of makes sense.
In developing
Makes
this
sense.
version, Health Canada refused to meet with special interest groups, and that was bound to ruffle feathers.
Cheese, milk, and yogurt have been identified as a foundational food in this new food guide. And that means that they should be consumed on a regular basis to maintain and promote health.
The bottom line is this is a significant departure for Canadians'
Significant.
habits. The 1942 food guide was written to promote agriculture and stimulate the economy. The 2019 version has a distinct focus on plant-based step away from fast food and return to the family meal.
When you look at today's outcome, it is clear to me that health won over agriculture.
Health won over agriculture.
Won over animal proteins. Urban won over rural.
Will the guide have a direct impact on Canadians? In the short term, unlikely. But it could influence, and over time, lead to changes in how we eat. Microlight Global News, Toronto.
Healthy. Healthy, guys. Healthy won. What do you think? You think healthy won, and you know what? Industry won over the little farmers, and I was really, really pleased to know that at the end of the day, the really terrible old Canada food guide that we had, that was really just because it was influenced by our dairy and our beef farmers. See, but now we found the real bad guy, right? We found the real bad guy, and we can weed out all the problems with how we eat and the health of Canadians in general, because thank you, Canadian government, for pointing out to me that the bad guy here is our small local farmers who are producing dairy and beef for us. No, it's not Kellogg's. It's not Kellogg's who's telling you to have a healthy, well-balanced, high-carb breakfast every day. It's not Mott's Fruit Sensations who are sponsoring what they feed your kids at school. It's not the food industry. It's not processed foods. It's the beef and it's the dairy. Duh. Like, duh. How did you guys not know? Like, what rock were you living under that you didn't know the bad guy was the local farmers? Just saying. You know, they're just trying to feed their families and, you know, raise beef and good quality dairy for us. Who knew it was really all their fault that we were fat? Who knew? And you know what I'm going to say? In some parts of Canada, maybe in Ontario, it'll be okay. People will be like, yeah, right on. We totally rock. I live in Alberta beef land. And I think this is going to go over in Alberta about as good as when Katie Lang said she didn't like our beef. If you don't know who Katie Lang was, once upon a time, she was Canada's sweetheart until she publicly said she didn't like beef. And then Canada rebelled against her as an entire country. I think there were people who threatened to kick her out of Canada and be like, you can't be Canadian anymore if you don't like beef. So I don't know. We're going to wait and see how this flies. But I can only imagine in Alberta, the land of homegrown beef, that this is going to go over exceedingly well. Like, I feel like my fellow Albertans are going to really, really see the common sense in this plate. Because when you look at this plate, it just makes sense. Just makes sense. And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you eat half of what you consume in, you know, higher carb fruits and vegetables? It just makes sense. Just makes sense, guys. I don't know what to tell you other than that. I can look at the plate. Totally makes sense. So because I'm Dory, I built a plate. I was having a mood this morning, and I built me a plate because I'm Dory and I had to have something visually to look at, because visually that's how I work. I need to have something to look at. So I built myself a plate and I wanted to see, what does Dory's plate look like? Dory's plate has 75% fat, 5% carbohydrate, and a little bit of protein in there. This is what Dory's plate looks like. And I'm going to tell you, I think that's what a plate should look like. Now, my question for you about their plate, because they've broken down their plate into 3 sections now, right? We have proteins, we have grains, and we have fruits and vegetables. So my question to you is this. Our body uses 3 kinds of macronutrients. We use fats, we use carbohydrates, and we use proteins. Okay? Fats, carbohydrates, proteins. How come those aren't the 3 things on the plate? If we're going to 3 things for 3 things, right? Why aren't these the 3 things on the plate? So why am I not looking at a plate that shows me protein, carbohydrate, and fats? Now here's my really big question. Do you guys see any fat? Do you see any fat? Like any fat of any kind whatsoever anywhere on this plate? Because I don't see it. I don't see any pictures of it. I don't see any mention of it. It doesn't even talk about vegetable oils and how unhealthy they are. I don't see it. I mean, I don't know. When you guys look at this plate, does it just make sense to you? When you look at this plate, I don't know. When I look at this plate, it does not make sense to me. It looks ridiculous to me when I look at this plate. And then, of course, it comes with the recommendation of make sure you're choosing lots of whole grains like rice and quinoa and whole grains because that's what's healthy. Now, here's my question. If the old food guide was so skewed because it was meant to increase our agriculture industry, right? It was skewed so that more farmers would grow more meat so that we would have more dairy available to us locally. But somehow they got in there with their dirty money. Their dirty money. Their dirty money. And they convinced us that meat and dairy would be good for us. Dirty money. That's what dirty money will get you. Like, I'm just going to tell you right now, you got to be careful because those lobbyists, they'll get you every time. So, who do you think paid for the new guide? I'm just curious. Obviously, it's not the beef farmers and it's not the dairy farmers. Nobody wants their dirty money anymore. Who do you think paid for this one? Do you think it was the vegans? Do you think the vegans paid for this one? How do you think they got their lobbyists in there? Right? Like, that's my big question. Like, let's conspiracy theory. How do you think they even wiggled their way in there to have the influence over it, to be able to put it out like, oh, you know what, the old guide, it was really skewed, and you know what, it was dirty money influence to the point where dietitians really didn't have any faith in it anymore. So they're going to revamp it. It's going to be a huge departure from the old way. And this way is truly based on what's healthy for us. And there's no dirty beef money in there to muddy the waters. Like, there is no dirty money in there at all to tell you what you should. This is truthfully just what's healthy. Caitlin says she thinks Big Pharma paid for this one. And you know what, girl? I think you're right. I do. Like, I really do. I think Big Pharma paid for this one. Who else has the pockets? Let's be honest. Like, let's play Super Sleuth for 2 seconds. And let's ask ourselves, who has the money? Because these things aren't cheap. They haven't done it since 1940 for a reason. The graphics aren't cheap. The advertising isn't cheap. Guess what? They have to pull all the educational information now from every school, from every hospital, and they have to replace it. How many multi-millions of dollars do you think that costs? What do you think, guys? That probably only costs like $10, right? Like, it probably costs exactly $10 to revamp the entire food guide. I'm sure it was really cheap. And I bet there isn't anybody with deep pockets behind it. Like, I bet you guys money. This is so altruistic. This is truthfully for our health. And they really are concerned about what Canadians are eating. Now, is there money in healthy people? Or is there money in the treatment? That's my question. Do healthy people question more? Do they ask more? Do they want more? Are sick, unhealthy, weak people willing to just take what happens to them? I mean, if you think there isn't any big money behind it somewhere, then why the change? Why the change? And why now? This is my question. Why now? Why all of a sudden do we need a new healthy eating guide? Do you think people are starting to think for themselves? Do you think? Do you think maybe the government's starting to worry that people are figuring out how to eat healthy on their own without their crummy guidelines? Just a thought. Just a thought. But I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe they're a little bit worried. Maybe they're starting to see the effect on the bottom line. Maybe people are starting to worry about their new Jaguar and their new beach house and their vacation that they take, you know, to go skiing in Maine. You know, maybe people are starting to worry about how this is going to affect their pocket. Because you know what? Things aren't coming out keto everywhere for nothing. Like, that isn't nothing. Every time you roll a dice, it comes up keto. It's for a reason. It's because we are making a change. And Flying Kitty says, because of course, eating real food diets like keto and paleo will kill you. Duh. Duh. How did you not already know that? Like, I don't even know how you don't know that that's very, very bad for you. Like, super unhealthy, just saying, hashtag gonna die. Hashtag gonna die. So I want to talk to you guys about it, mostly because this is going to happen all over the world. This is not just going to be Canada. We were just the first dummies to step up to the line and be like, we have it. We have it. No, this time it's really healthy. This time we really care about your health. I mean, the one that we put out last time, that one was kind of, you know, fake. But this one, we totally, like, mean it. Hashtag means it. Like, hashtag gonna be healthy this time. Oh my goodness. Firewolf Ashton, my Kathy says they're a lot worried. And next year the US pushes their new guidelines. Any idea which direction they'll be going? I'm curious. So my challenge for you guys is this. I say it's time. I say it's time we push back. I say it's time that we stop arguing and backbiting with people in the healthy eating community. And it's time we link shields Spartan style and we give a little pushback because we know what is healthy for us. We know what we want. We know how we want to control our own health care. And I think it's about time that we let people know how we feel about our food, how we feel about our healthcare, how we feel about the new dietary guidelines. I think it's time. I think I don't even care if you eat meat and potatoes. If you eat meat and you think that this guide is wrong, I want to link up with you because, dude, time is time. Like, there is only so long that we will be rolled over, pushed down, and just trampled over. I think it's time for us to stand up and say, you know what? We're all grown. I'm grown. I ain't a child. I know what's good for me. I know what works for me, and I'm not willing to listen to your garbage anymore. You know what? I am not willing to allow you to teach my children that. I don't want my senior parents being fed that in the retirement home. At what point do we all stand up together and, like Firewolf Ashton says, kiss our keto? Kiss it, dude. Kiss it. I'm done. Like, I am done. Dory is on a warpath. And I say time is time, and it has come. I think it's time for us to stand up and say no. No more. No more. I don't want to listen to that. I'm not willing to have it. I will not have my children taught that. I will not have my senior parents fed that. No more. No more. Because until we stand up and say no more, guess what? They're all over the news saying, oh, this looks like a great idea. It just makes sense. In one of the interviews, the lady actually said, oh, wow, I think this really reflects the more diversity that Canada has become. And I really love seeing alternate food options. Alternate food options. We're not going to talk about real food. We're not going to talk about meat, protein, fats. We're going to talk about food alternatives. Because really, why would we have healthy beef, chicken, pork, when we could have its alternative soy? Soy-based products. They're really good for you, by the way. Soy is super healthy, and it doesn't inflame your body at all. It doesn't do like all kinds of horrible things to your body. It definitely doesn't screw with your hormones. Yeah, it's really good for you. I think we should all totally have more alternate foods. I think so. I think maybe I'll develop my own line of soy faux meat. We'll call it foy. We'll call it foy. And then I'll create it. And then we'll just all start eating it. And then we'll be like, totally, totally healthy. We could all be totally healthy. Like, duh, hello. The Canadian government says we can. Like, and I believe the Canadian government. I trust them. I trust them clearly with my life. Clearly with my life. Sherry says, I still like Katie Lang anyways. I'm almost carnivore with the exception of cabbage and pickles. Crystal says, funny, the farmers are the bad guys, but the whole plate is plant-based. Darn farmers. Oh, wait. Guess those urbanites are growing quinoa and veggies? Urban won out over rural, as proven by our new Canadian food guide. Right? Urban won out over rural, and plant-based won over protein, and good health won overall. Above all else, health won. I bet you guys are totally buying it. I bet you're totally, totally buying it. Like I am. I totally buy it. Tamara says the school children will have more obesity problems with the new plan. How terrible for them. And the government is killing people in a roundabout way. Slowly but surely, right? Slowly but surely. Jennifer says, I live in Ontario and I've been fuming since I saw this the other day. Good girl. I'm glad. I'm glad it's not just Alberta people who are going to be mad. Do you know what? You know the only people I think that are going to like it? Those dirty Montreal separatists. They're going to be like, yes, see, finally, some healthy for my plate. Dirty separatists. Tell you what, I shouldn't rant like that about separatists, but they are. They're seriously, if you guys don't know about Canada, there are people like that in Canada who are like, oh, we're too French for you. We need our own country. Oh, Chris says, I'm so bummed. I missed what you're talking about because I got a call. So we're talking about the new Canadian food guide. and how awesome it is and how healthy it will make us if we just follow it, right? Like, it totally looks like a good plate. Caitlin says, yum. Linda, I am awesome. How's your day, honey? I'm looking forward to Friday. I don't know. I'm kind of in a mood. This whole Canada Food Guide thing, it's made me angry. Like, it's made me a little bit angry. And when I see everybody on the news going, oh, it looks so amazing. This is such a departure from the old way. I'm like, I think I threw up in my mouth a little bit. Just a little bit. Caitlin says, obviously they're going for a vegan diet, which isn't healthy for people. It isn't a natural diet for humans. So then the doctors and the pharmacies get more money making the pills to fix all of these problems that they're going to have because of the diet. Right? So yeah, who benefits? Who benefits? Who's going to make this money? I mean, let's be honest. At the end of every day, there is money to be made. Who is making money off of this? Who is going to benefit from this new healthy guideline? And maybe we need to invest a little bit of time in researching that and finding out who's lining their pockets with this new guide. And Caitlin says there's no money in healthy people. And girl, you are not wrong. There is no money in healthy. There is no money in the cure. The money is in treating symptoms. The money is in creating new medications. The money is in keeping everyone sick. That is where the money is. And at the end of the day, we're going to fight that bottom line all day, every day. Because you know what? They have the big pockets. But here's the real secret. They have the pockets. We have the power of the dollar. The power of the dollar is ours. If we don't spend on their garbage, then eventually they have to make what we want. There isn't any other way around it. If we don't buy, they don't sell. It's called supply and demand. There's no point in supplying what people don't demand. So we have to go out in force and demand what we want so that they will supply what we want, what we need. We know what will make our families healthy. We know what will make our lives better. So stop fighting every step of the way and just let us have it. We're gonna do it anyways. We're gonna do it anyways. Like, there's nothing that anybody is gonna say or do that's going to change our minds. So get out of the way. That's all I can say. Get out of the way. Don't make me push you down. Like, I will knock a bitch down. Don't make me. Just get out of the way. Caitlin says, I think they're trying to brainwash young kids so they don't try keto. And girl, ding, 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 we have a winner. We have a winner. Chris Baker says, heck yeah, big money in the treatment. Do you honestly think they don't have a cure for cancer? Heck yeah, they do, but they're not going to reveal it because that's big money out of their pockets. I agree. I will not disagree with that conspiracy theory. I 1,000,000% think that there's a cure. I really do. I think there's a cure for a lot of things that they're not bothering to cure. Crystal says, what the hell? Self-thinkers? Gasp. Please say it ain't so. You know, like, are we actually starting to think for ourselves and make healthy decisions on our own? And guess what? Look at how the marketplace is changing. Look at how different products are becoming available. Again, does not happen for no reason. Does not happen overnight. Flying Kitty says, I've thought that for years. And you know what? I think a lot of us have thought that for years. You know what? There is no money in the cure. And that's the bottom line. There is no money in good health. Sue says, we're hitting their pocketbooks and they don't like it. They don't. They don't. Nobody likes losing money. Let's be honest. If you made $50 billion last year and you're losing money, you're panicking right now. Like, there are big boys in boardrooms all over the world and they are panicked. They are scrambling. They got to figure out how to make that monies, right? Crystal says, I know what's good for my family. I don't need somebody to tell me. I know. And we have all learned that. And you know what? We've all picked up a pretty good sniff out the truth detector, right? We've learned our own to pick through the knowledge that we had before, because let's be honest, I believed in the standard Canadian diet before I found keto. I believed in it even though it kept me fat. I believed in it because there was never an option to believe in anything else. It's all that there was. It was there and I was a failure, and that was the bottom line. The guide was there. Could I follow it? Then I would be thin, but I never did. So the failure was mine. The failure was always mine. The punishment was always mine. I would go to my doctor and I would get his advice, and he would advise me my high carb, low fat, moderate protein diet, and I would go home with his best advice and I would be a failure again. And I would not have enough willpower to do it again. And it would always be my fault. So I'm going to warn you guys, we just died out on Facebook. So I think I'm going to close it up so that we don't miss too much. I think it was a really great talk and I don't want everybody to miss out on it. Now I'm going to tell you guys, I am hitting the pavement and I'm going to see who has time to talk to us about this new Canadian food guide. We are going to, I'm chatting with Miss Carrie Brown, the real Carrie Brown, and we're going to schedule something, and I'm going to see who else wants to sit down and talk about it, because I think it's the tip of the iceberg and I'm scared of that. I think that this is only the beginning, and I think it's the beginning of a really big landslide unless we get underneath of it right fast and put a stop to it. So I'm going to put a challenge out there and say we got to figure out how to get people together. We have to figure out how to hit this as one stable front, because until we do, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. So I don't know. We're going to figure something out. We're going to call out all the big dogs, baby. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but I know it's time. I know it's time, and I know that we need to do something. We have to do something. So I don't know, guys, help me over the next couple weeks, next couple months. We're going to put something together. We really, really, really need to hit this in force. I already talked to Jimmy. I did. We are going to chat with Jimmy coming up ASAP. He was going to try to make us some time today, but he is in podcasts all day long today. So yes, we are going to chat with Jimmy more about this. If you guys missed his rant, he did a Jimmy rant about the Canada Food Guide yesterday. Now, it may still be available on Instagram. If not, go head over to his YouTube or thejimmyrants.com and watch that one. But we are certainly going to sit down and talk with Jimmy about it. But we need a plan, guys. We need a plan. We need to figure out some way to come at this as one solid front, because nobody is taking us seriously. I mean, they're taking us seriously enough to take that word keto and make it evil, and they're serious enough to take that word keto and slap it all over their best diet products. And I say it's time we take keto back. So if you guys are in and you want to figure out how to do it, we're going to do it. It's time to take keto back, baby. I'll see you soon. Have an awesome day, guys. And thanks for hanging out and spilling the tea. See you soon, guys.